Here's Ranger Sonic Gamer 123 here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Also, this video contains spoilers to Spider-Man No Way Home. And please, watch at your own risk, and happy holidays. And if you do take any holidays this Christmas anywhere, I know I am, please have a very jolly holiday. And I'd love to give your support in regard and kind words of the fun on your holiday. So please have a nice holiday days this Christmas. And again, Merry Christmas. On to the video. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your king. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's official. This is definitely one of the best Christmases ever. That's because we tried to make it better. We did the same for last year's Christmas due to a pandemic.
Also, Tails, thank you for those new Minecraft skins. How'd you know? Well, Owen, Ranger told me you're a fan of Minecraft, and that you mod it whenever you play it, and it's your favorite Xbox One game. Of course he did. Very clever PS4 nerd.
You're welcome, Xbox One punk. Wait a second. Isn't that Mac 76 is like 28955's debate of the PS4 punk and the Xbox One lad? But this time, you're the Xbox One punk and I'm the PS4 nerd.
I know. I was just trying to bring that debate here.
God Christmas, bro. Why would you even? Oh, come on. I thought that while you were doing your news story and wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, bro. Why? What are you getting? Two free blasters for Sonic, 2 Rubik's Cubes, or a handprint scanner in the tree? Now that you mention it, Dak, I'll go for the handprint scanner in a tree. Hopefully, if I meet Sonic one of these days, he can give me lessons on how to create a handprint scanner in a tree, as well as your brother. Good luck with that, and I hope Sonic doesn't assume I sound like him. Calm down, broski. I'm sure Sonic's not gonna assume that. Even though we haven't met the 76 Avengers, or the 23 Avengers, or the 76B Avengers.
Sonic, we're under the mistletoe.
Sorry, Solon, I forgot. Get a room, you two.
That joke never gets old, right, Mig?
Well, Tails, when you put it like that, it never does. Did you remember that Sonic and Sonic short and that TikTok? Those TikTok and Plus shorts posted to YouTube, right? With the Amiibo and Lego Dimensions disc battles too?
What's next? Dimension 23 and 76 disc battle? I don't think so. After all, we're here to have a good time on Christmas Day. Great selection of the dinner on Christmas Day too, Ranger. And thanks for that toy gun.
Oh, you mean that Nerf blaster I gave you? Yep. I thought you might be into it since you play a lot of games that feature machine guns. So thought I'd give you a Nerf gun for Christmas. Anyways, I have to get to work now.
Yeah, I have to bounce too. I have to get back home to the farm, help the crops, and I'm gonna head back to my research. Just the last update on that Dark Gaia situation.
Okay, not gonna worry about that until after Christmas. Megan and I have to head home too. We've got a movie night of Home Alone. And a few Christmas specials.
Oh, and I better head back to play Jingle Bells. You're free to join if you like.
Solon. I can catch up to play Jingle Bells with you after Shadow Ranger and I are done reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. See you then. That sure was a fun Christmas party, so I guess we'll get started on this review. It begins with lines from the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home with the Sony Columbia Marvel Studios logo. And if you guys for those of you who have seen Spider-Man Far From Home, then you know what this is coming to. You know when Mysterio states the whole Elemental Act just to get control of Tony Stark's glasses and all-powerful tech? Well, Spidey stopped him to only make Mysterio get his revenge by revealing Peter's identity to the entire world. And thanks to that, Peter is no longer able to separate his normal life. And J. Jonah Jameson marks him as a public #1 enemy. And he rushes back home and closes the curtain. And there's choppers outside. And now people see Spider-Man as the bad guy. The police interrogate Peter, but Peter states that he was not responsible for Mysterio or had the drones. But the FBI doesn't believe him. And they interrogated MJ and Ned too. And Peter finds it hard to take his high school life too, as people are putting up flyers that Mysterio was right, even though he wasn't. Wow, unbelievable. Backplayed everyone. Yeah, tell me about it. Peter in class. On the roof. They were thinking of staying up on the roof all day, but when they could have a chance of getting into another city, they just had to go for MIT. And later at the coffee shop, the scholarship failed. All because Ned and MJ were working with Peter. And they couldn't live in another city together, which let them all down. And that was when Peter decided to visit Doctor Strange himself. And he goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum only to notice Wong cleaning as the new Sorcerer Supreme. But everyone thought Doctor Strange was the Sorcerer Supreme, but Doctor Strange was blipped for 5 years. Yeah, but Peter explained how Mysterio revealing his identity was hurting everyone, and he didn't exactly feel relieved about it. And Peter was hoping that Doctor Strange could use a spell to make sure that Mysterio never revealed Peter's identity. But there was a simple spell that could do the trick, which could make everyone forget that Peter was Spider-Man. But Wong said it was not safe to do so because it brings in it tampers with the stability of space-time. Not the time stone wouldn't be the only way, but Wong warned Strange not to cast that spell. But then Wong goes through the portal, and Strange winks at Peter. And I love how Peter calls Strange Steven. If I ever meet Doctor Strange, I call him Steven as well. I just imagine him saying that it's pretty weird, but he'd allow it. But Strange asked Peter if he was ready, and Peter was ready and said that the entire world was about to forget that Peter's Spider-Man. But Peter asked Strange to modify the spell so that some people would still know, like the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Ant-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Ned, MJ, Ant-Man, Happy. And he keeps telling him, but Strange warned Peter to not tamper with the spell. But it was unleashed before Peter could do any more. But Strange said that Peter was the problem, and his trying to live 2 different lives. Then he gets shut out like the Agent 1 did to Strange in the first Doctor Strange movie. I guess Peter knows how Strange felt in the first Doctor Strange movie. Mm-hmm. And then he decided to go over to the bridge in his iron suit to check on him. And he was talking to Flash's mom about MIT, a second chance. That's when the multi-armed robo-tentacle maniac we fought dead at the end of Spider-Man 2 we saw smashing cars. But he confused Peter with another Spidey. As you can hear him saying, "Hello, Peter." But Doc Ock demands to know what happened to his machine. And Peter tried to get him to start smashing cars, but he just froze them. And then the rampage gets even worse. But Peter had his iron spider suit, so he activated the iron arms. So Doc Ock assumed that he and his tentacles had competition, only to get tentacle fight and spider arm fight. Yeah, and it was under the bridge. Peter saved Flash's mom only to get tentacle struck. And Doc Ock steals the Iron Spider suit's nanotech. And he realizes he had the wrong Peter Parker. And then, because the tentacles stole the nanotech, they were linked to the Iron Spider suit. And they changed. But Doc Ock warned the tentacles to obey him. And then they were wrapped around him. That's when they were brought into a secure prison cell which both featured Doc Ock and the Lizard. The same Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man. Of course it's not Dr. Connors. But before they were taking out the Green Goblin, was lobbing bombs. The same Green Goblin who we thought was impaled by his own glider in the first Sam Raimi movie. But Strange explained it was Peter's fault because he tampered with the spell. It was an accident, Strange. Give him a chance. And then that's when Peter learned that the multiverse was real. But they're free. But Peter needed Ned and MJ's help. And they were ready to catch some multiverse man. Their first destination was a power grid. Spidey used Mystic Art suit. No, it was black. That's when he got ambushed by Electro. That's when we heard his theme from Amazing Spider-Man 2. I knew we were gonna. That's when Flint Marko returns. And they both work together to take Electro down. That's when they were brought into this secure cell and Doc Ock said he knew Norman Osborn, and he warned Peter that he was flying out into darkness to fight a ghost. Don't know if this situation's gonna happen to us, or if I tangle with Zero the Jackal, or take on Scourge the Hedgehog, or meet Captain Ernsta. They would be ghosts. Why? Because he died. They would die. That's when Norman became more and more scared of the Goblin Mask, but the Goblin kept trying to get through to him and saying that they had a new world to conquer. But Norman refused and broke the mask, only to let the Green Goblin's soul loose. And they brought him to the Sanctum, and they had to find a way to cure him. But Strange said no, because they had to cure them first. And also, that got into a fight. and Strange brought Peter into the mirror dimension from Doctor Strange, and he nearly put Thanos into an Infinity War. And it's strange that in the multiverse there's an infinite number of people who know Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Oh, don't remind me about Infinite earlier this year. And and Peter said, what if thought about changing their fate so that they could have a second chance? But Peter accidentally took Strange's sling ring, and their plan was to cure the villains so that they could start fresh. And then they went over to that apartment. So they went over to Peter's new apartment, and Happy was quizzing him. But they had finished cooking up a new inhibitor chip for Doc Ock. But Doc Ock was getting angry and friend here, but as soon as it was installed, it changed his thoughts back to normal. He went from an evil and angry Doc Ock to a good and caring Doc Ock. And next was to stabilize Electro. And the goblin was Norman. But already took over as the spider sense triggered. Electro zapped Doc Ock out of the building. And a lizard broke out. J. J. James's comment was so funny. Was that a dinosaur? No, Jonah, it's not. It's a lizard. I don't know what's up with lizards and dinosaurs with people in the MCU universe. And the Green Goblin was green chaos, but before Aunt May could cure him, it didn't work. He killed Aunt May instead and gave the message that great power must always come great responsibility. But then in Ned's house, they were feeling upset, but Ned actually opened a portal, but to the Amazing Universes, Peter. And opened another one to the Raimi versus Peter and waved hi, the same way he usually greets. Yeah, he made that greeting in the opening scene of Spider-Man 2002. I don't know when he did it in Spider-Man 2, though. But he definitely did it in Spider-Man 3. He still greets the same. I love his greeting. But Andrew will always be my favorite Spider-Man. Wow, Ranger, you sure love Andrew Garfield, don't you? Yeah, he's my favorite Spider-Man. I fell in love with his franchise after seeing the first movie in 2012. And when the MCU's Peter wanted to kill the Green Goblin, the Raimiverse and Amazing Universe Peters both told MCU Peter they knew what he was going through. And that they could work together, but they'd have to make some upgrades to the last Destiny machines. Ned asked Toby Peter if he had a best friend too, but the Raimi versus Peter explained that his best friend died in his arms, referring to the ending of Spider-Man 3. we see a romantic scene between here and MJ. And they had to make some web fluid for the web shooters, but Rainverse Peter showed off his organic webs. Still to this day, I'm still surprised the Rainverse Spider doesn't have web shooters. It's like web blood. Oh, and then we switch over to the place that represents second chances, the Statue of Liberty. That's where the final battle would take place. And their traps were ready. They just had to lure the villains. And we see the Lizard, Electro, and Sandman attacking. Where MCU Peter tells Rainverse Peter and the Amazing Universe Peter to trust their spider senses and talk about teamwork. But Andrew said he loves, the Amazing Universe's Spidey says he loves the other two Spideys. And then they put their masks on and were all suited up. And then swung over into action to tangle with the villains. That's when Doc Ock showed up. And a nice reunion between Rainverse Peter and MC and Doc Ock after years. That's when Amazing Peter cured Electro, but Max was afraid of being a nobody. But Amazing Peter once again convinced Max that he was never a nobody. Once again. And I didn't see him as a nobody, as a somebody. As he says in the second Amazing Spider-Man, you're not a nobody, you're a somebody. Now I need you. You're my eyes and ears out here, alright? Alright. I'll see you out there. And Connors was cured too and turned back into himself. And so is the Sandman. As before they were cured, the Green Goblin just popped in on his new suit. MCU Beer was beating the heck out of him, angry about what happened to Aunt May. But then, and at the end, Dr. Strange got out and they were all cured. More people were coming in and couldn't stop him. But Peter had a plan to make everyone forget he was Spider-Man, but they'd have to forget about him too. Peter said goodbye to Ned and MJ. And saying that they would meet again one day. Peter didn't want to say goodbye. But he made a promise they'll fix it. And that's when the spell was unleashed. And Doc Ock, Dr. Connors, Sandman, Electro, Norman, the other Spideys were sent home. And everyone forgot about Peter Parker and that he was Spider-Man, because we see J. Jonah Jameson swearing that he'll uncover the truth. And Peter is able to separate his normal life again and met MJ and Ned at the shop again and asked for a coffee. And then he said they'd see him around. And thanks to Raimiverse Peter and Amazing Peter, he had an idea of a new suit. I think that's where he come from. And then before that, he visited Aunt May's grave, and Happy was there too. And there was a crime scene, so we saw one final swing before the movie ended around Christmas time. That was definitely more that tops Avengers Endgame as my favorite MCU film. I know I said Age of Ultron was my favorite MCU film, but this movie has already dethroned Age of Ultron. And for me, this movie has dethroned Thor Ragnarok. But we see Eddie Brock and Venom in a pub asking questions about the MCU villains. But they were sent home. And Venom complains that they just ended up in that universe. And the end credit scene is a trailer of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, which I assume takes place straight after this movie. And Mordo has returned. And we see the words Doctor Strange will return. I really hope we see Tom Holland as Spider-Man again. I will see Spider-Man on the big screen again, Sonic. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is next year. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, remember? Oh, yeah. This is definitely one of the best Christmases ever. Merry Christmas, Ranger and Shadow. Merry Christmas, Sonic and Ranger. Merry Christmas, Sonic and Shadow. And happy holidays. Okay, we better... But after our New Year plans, we can get back to the Dark Guy research. See you around.